We made it Friday. Good morning. I'm Greg Bishop, Illinois in Focus Daily, with you each and every weekday morning, right around 8 o'clock. A little late start here. My mom tells me, don't tell people you're late. It's what it is. I'm just going to be upfront and honest with you. I had to reset some cameras and things for some reason, Windows updates. We'll just blame that. Several things to tackle this morning. We're going to connect with Todd Vandermeide, the president of Aurora Sportsman's Club. They've got their zombie shoot this weekend to highlight the club. So we'll talk a little bit about that. But I also wanted to talk with Todd about the Department of Justice getting involved in the challenge against Illinois' gun and magazine ban and the significance of that. Because we've got oral arguments coming up in just 10 days up in Chicago in the 7th Circuit U.S. Court of Appeals on that case out of the Southern District where the judge declared the gun ban unconstitutional. So that's going to come to a head here soon, but the U.S. Department of Justice Civil Rights Division getting involved in the case with the Assistant Attorney General expected to be part of oral arguments. So I want to talk to Todd about that, but also the Schoenthal ruling that came out about, prohibitions of concealed carry on mass transit. Interesting line in there that we talked about earlier this week and got some reaction from law enforcement agencies on how to address that. When it comes to what the appeals court said in their ruling that, somebody could essentially disable their firearm, put it into a secure location, go on to mass transit, get off mass transit, and then reassemble their firearm. So we'll talk to Todd about that as well. So that's what we're going to get to here today. Real quick, though, of course, the ongoing manhunt for Charlie Kirk's assassin continues. If you go to thecentersquare.com, you can get the newsletter each and every weekday morning. And just some of the headlines, you've got authorities offering a $100,000 reward. They're releasing photos of the suspect. And Trump, he says that the shooting suspect was caught. So let's take a look at this story from the Center Square. Again, go to thecentersquare.com. Just getting this fresh this morning. President Donald Trump told Fox News Friday that the suspect in the killing of conservative activist Charlie Kirk has been caught. Fox News also posted on social media, and Trump announced the suspect was in custody. I think with a high degree of certainty we have him, Trump told Fox and Friends. Essentially, someone who knew him turned him in. So you've got that as a developing story. We'll be watching that closely. Again, go to thecentersquare.com. Kirk, a Illinois native, speaking at a college in Utah on Wednesday, shot one shot fired from our understanding and later died at the hospital. But you have Illinois' Republican congressional delegation having a resolution they put together, and Congresswoman Mary Miller shared this on the House floor yesterday.
I rise today truly heartbroken over the tragic loss of my friend and fellow Illinois native, Charlie Kirk. Charlie was a devoted husband and father, a bold Christian who never backed down from speaking truth peacefully. Charlie inspired millions with his courage and convictions. Because of Charlie, countless young people love America, boldly stand for their faith, and proudly defend our freedoms on college campuses and beyond. His death was not an isolated tragedy. It is part of a disturbing trend in political violence in our country, encouraged by the radical left and amplified by a corrupt media that has gone from being fake to totally evil. As we grieve, let us honor Charlie's legacy by continuing the work he so faithfully championed And let us lift up his wife and children in our prayers. Thank you, and I yield back.
So again, that's Congresswoman Miller on the House floor yesterday, sharing some thoughts about Charlie Kirk as the Congressional Republicans for Illinois have that resolution that they're putting forward to honor the 31-year-old Illinois native shot and killed in front of thousands of people at an outdoor event in Utah. Get to thecentersquare.com. Newsletter each and every weekday morning in your inbox. But you can wake up right here with us each and every weekday morning for Illinois in Focus Daily.
There is not an emergency in Chicago that requires military troops on the ground.
President Trump, we are asking for your leadership and your actions because the people of Chicago cannot wait any longer.
It's just the back and forth about public safety in Chicago. Good morning, Illinois in Focus Daily. I'm Greg Bishop. Wake up with us each and every weekday morning here with the Center Square, and go to thecentersquare.com to get the latest headlines. Yesterday, the Chicago Flips Red grassroots organization held a news conference in Chicago talking about how they want President Donald Trump to come to the streets of Chicago and clean up crime and address public safety. We've been talking about this now for weeks, with President Trump signaling he would send the National Guard in, but then we get an announced DHS operation, Midway Blitz, that's focused on immigration. All of that while for months in the Trump administration fully anticipated there was going to be enhanced immigration enforcement. You got Tom Homan, who's said for months, since day one, they're going to flood the zone, and they're going to focus on sanctuary jurisdictions with ICE officers on the ground, because sanctuary jurisdictions don't cooperate with federal law enforcement when it comes to immigration law, especially in a state like Illinois. We've got the Trust Act, we've got the Way Forward Act, two laws that essentially prohibit state and local law enforcement from not just not cooperating with federal immigration enforcement when it comes to civil detention orders. They'll cooperate with them on criminal detention orders, but not civil detention orders. But you've also got the law going even further to where local and state police can't even inquire about somebody's immigration status. So those are obviously some things that the federal government has tried to sue in court, hasn't worked. So the interesting, space of public safety involving the immigration enforcement aspect as well in all of this. But Chicago Flips Red's founder, Zoe Lee, they talked about the importance of getting some help from the Trump administration and ensuring that there's public safety in the areas of Chicago where it desperately needs it.
President Trump acknowledged Chicago and our pleas for his help. More than 200 people have been shot. We've seen carjackings, robberies, even luxury stores looted in broad daylight. Young shooters are bold enough to post up at police headquarters. We are in the middle of an education crisis, a mental health crisis, and above all, a crisis of leadership. We need federal intervention. We need the IRS Criminal Division, DOJ, FBI, and an independent forensic audit of every dollar supposedly spent on crime prevention and homelessness. And yes, we need the military. What's happening here is nothing less than genocide in our communities. President Trump, I am pleading, come to Chicago, come to Illinois. Help us save our city before it's too late. Charlie Kirk once said, gun deaths are worth it to keep the Second Amendment. He's right, because our right to defend ourselves is non-negotiable, like him. I love this country. I will speak the truth and stand my ground. And if necessary, I'm willing to give my life for my country, for what is right and for what makes sense.
Again, Chicago Flips Red, a grassroots group that's come up and they've addressed the Chicago City Council time and again about their concerns of public safety and wanting a forensic audit of Chicago, and upset about the public resources going to non-citizen immigrants versus going to areas of the city of Chicago they say need the funding. And then you had another member of Chicago Flips Red, Danielle Carter Walters, address the crowd, opening up actually, and bringing people to that news conference.
Some people told us we should postpone this press conference, but we know better. We remember when President Trump almost got assassinated and they wanted him to postpone his rallies. Not only did he not do it, but he told us to fight, fight, fight. And we refuse to let evil win. This is between good and evil. No, make no mistake about this. Violence and fear are the tools that corrupt and the lawlessness used to try to silence us. And silence has gotten us nowhere. Silence is what has allowed crime to explode, corruption to spread, and our communities to suffer. We will not be silenced anymore. We are tired of Governor Pritzker and Mayor Brandon Johnson standing in front of these cameras and claiming to speak for the citizens of Chicago and Illinois. Let's be clear. They do not represent us.
Yes, amen. Not at all. Yes.
The people deserve their own voice. And that is exactly what we are here to give them today. President Trump, we are asking for your leadership and your actions because the people of Chicago cannot wait any longer.
So that was yesterday. There you can see the skyline of the city of Chicago. Behind them, Chicago Flips Red, a grassroots group, and they have been making all kinds of media rounds and addressing their concerns about the public safety issues in Chicago. But earlier this week, Governor J.B. Pritzker, he said that there's not, this emergency that needs the federal government using the National Guard to come in and clean up.
There is not an emergency in Chicago that requires military troops on the ground. And so I hope he does not send them into any other American cities, because I do not think if there is not an emergency or an insurrection that anyone in this country deserves to have their city invaded by military troops led by the President of the United States.
And he also went on to talk about how what he wants is, more FBI, DEA, ATF. He seems to not want more immigration and customs enforcement officers, but the other federal agencies, the governor said that he wants. He also says that Illinois needs to get more federal tax dollars for violence intervention programs.
So I would love it if he would restore funding for police, would restore funding for violence interruption programs, which we are the best in the country at, I might add. But it seems like he likes to defund police and then complain about crime.
And the governor's office released a news statement yesterday talking about how much money's gone into violence and intervention programs. $375 million. The Illinois Office of Firearm Violence Prevention has invested, they say, in violence interruption. So the governor, he took part in a roundtable discussion with the Office of Firearm Violence yesterday, talking about the funds for violence prevention programs. Look at that. So you've got, the money situation here, obviously, at play. It takes resources to have people on the streets and to, conduct public safety. But again, the governor says that, there's not an emergency. They just need more money for violence intervention programs. And these are grants that go to, community nonprofit type groups. And he says that the Guard's not needed, but he's also not convinced that the Guard won't be used by Trump.
I'm not convinced that we're not going to see military troops on the ground. We don't know. I mean, I wish the president would, again, recognize that military troops in American cities are something that just doesn't belong. And he should not be ordering them into American cities. Again, civilian law enforcement, please, would love the help, and restore the funding that helps us reduce crime.
More to come on all of this, obviously, with Illinois having been making national news with the back and forth between Governor J.B. Pritzker and President Donald Trump. while you've got people who live in Chicago saying that they need help in their communities for public safety. All right, it's Illinois in Focus Daily on this Friday. Get the headlines in your inbox. Go to thecentersquare.com. All right, everybody stand by as I pull up our next live guest.
Yep.
September 22nd, the 7th Circuit U.S. Court of Appeals is going to hear oral arguments in the case challenging Illinois' gun and magazine ban. Let's start that over. Just realized I didn't hit record locally, so hey, live to tape, ladies and gentlemen. That's how it works around here. September 22nd, the 7th Circuit U.S. Court of Appeals is going to hear the arguments about Illinois' gun and magazine ban after a district judge found the law unconstitutional. But an interesting twist, the U.S. Department of Justice getting involved in that case. While you have questions about enforcement of concealed carry laws, considering a recent ruling out of the 7th Circuit about prohibiting concealed carry on mass transit. Talk about that and a few other things. Todd Vandermeide, he is the host of Freedom Steel. He is also the president of the Aurora Sportsman's Club. He's been intimately involved in some of the legal challenges that have been going on. Todd, thanks for taking time with us this morning. Good to connect with you.
Great to be with you again.
Yeah, especially with a big weekend you guys got coming up, and I'm looking forward to seeing that in action. We'll talk about that here in a little bit, Todd. But let's start with, I guess, the DOJ getting involved in the gun ban challenge. This is pretty significant.
It's monumental. We have the United States Department of Justice not only filing an amici brief on behalf of the challengers to the Illinois gun ban, they have asked for time to come in and argue the government's position. So it's going to be interesting. We're expecting a hostile panel. We'll see how hostile they want to be to, the government. And it is. I mean, it's a monumental day.
So when it comes to what to expect, I mean, they've carved themselves out 5 minutes. Harmeet Dillon, we've seen some of what she's written already, and it seems pretty. She's not mincing words when it comes to what this law is and what the right of the Second Amendment provides.
No, she's not. I think Harmeet is well spoken, well versed on the issue. What we expect. They may get a little more time depending on how the arguments go. Here's what we know for a fact. Frank Easterbrook, the senior judge on this panel, is a bully. He's an obnoxious blowhard and a bully. And we fully expect him to come through with those shining colors and just try to berate our side because he disagrees with it. The only reason there's double doors to the courthouse are to allow him to fit his ego through into the courtroom. This guy is obnoxious. He thinks he's smarter than everybody else. He's carrying a perpetual chip on his shoulder because he didn't get on the Supreme Court. He thinks many of the justices up there are inferior to him in intellect, and he's not afraid to sit there and just put that on display for the world. So I think he's going to badger and put words in the mouth of our attorneys, claiming they're making arguments that they are not. I think that that's all you're going to see out of this. And unfortunately, I don't think the arguments are going to be overly fruitful because it won't be a discussion between the judges and the lawyers that are probative. That's just not his style.
Todd, we've got the outcome expected possibly sometime later this year. It took them 3 or 4 months to even make a decision when they're going to hear this case in the appeals court. What do you see happening? Is it going to, go to the full panel, or do you think that, say, if plaintiffs, lose in this in the appeals court, are they just going to go directly to the U.S. Supreme Court and get this taken care of?
Yeah, if our side loses, I mean, if this is a panel decision that comes out against us, I would expect that we go to the Supreme Court. The en banc makeup of the court just doesn't look like it benefits us. Unlike a couple other districts where it looks like Trump has succeeded in putting what we think might be pro-gun majorities or pro-Second Amendment majorities on those courts. No, there's no such hope with the Biden appointees that were made late in his term for the Seventh Circuit. So it really wouldn't behoove us to go en banc. Now, if we prevail, which I'm not expecting to, I could very well see the state going en banc to try and undo that decision.
Todd Vandermeide joins us. He is the president of the Aurora Sportsman's Club, gun rights advocate, and also the host of Freedom's Steel on YouTube. Todd, something else I wanted to talk to you about is the recent ruling out of the Seventh Circuit concerning the Schoenthal case, the prohibition of concealed carry on mass transit. They upheld the law, but there's this interesting part on page 34 of the ruling, and I'm going to pull this up on the video so people can see, and just briefly read this. It says, concealed carry license card holder can keep his firearm with him as long as it is unloaded and secured during time of public transit. Under Illinois' regulation, a citizen can step off the transit system, reassemble their firearm, and go about their day with no further infringements on their rights. Todd, what are your thoughts about that particular provision that's now in a court order?
I argued against that when they passed the law, saying, what's this going to look like when you have 5, 6, a dozen people waiting for the bus, and as the bus pulls up, they all reach under their coat or whatever, pull out a handgun, unload it, clear it, and then place it in a briefcase, a purse, a satchel, something like that, and then board the bus. What do you think the Chicago police are going to do when they see that? Well, I mean, how many people do you think are going to start picking up the phone and calling 911 saying there's a person with a gun on the bus? I want to hear what the Cook County Sheriffs and the Chicago Police Department and other law enforcement agencies are going to do when somebody does exactly what a federal court has just said is their remedy.
Todd,
I think.
Todd, let me give you what I got back from a couple of law enforcement agencies and people watching. I've got the text statements here from Illinois State Police. They say the decision does not change how Illinois law enforcement enforces concealed carry laws in the state. The statute and case law continues to speak for themselves. So that was Illinois State Police. I also got a statement.
That's a non-answer.
I also got a statement from the Cook County Sheriff's Office. It says the Sheriff's Office is reviewing the decision issued issued by the Seventh Circuit United States Court of Appeals in the case of Schoenthal et al. V. Raoul et al. We understand the appellate court has not issued the appellate mandate for this decision, and the decision remains pending. We intend to have discussions with the attorney generals and state's attorneys' offices regarding the procedural posture of this decision and when it will take effect, and what the practical effect of the decision will be on public safety and enforcement of the concealed carry laws of Illinois. It would be premature to comment on how any part of this decision would be enforced. And again, that's from the Cook County Sheriff's Office. What are your thoughts?
Well, the answer from the state police is their typical non-answer. That's not an answer. I mean, but they've also given you the ability to now go ask the attorney general, since Cook County has implicated them in this, as to what are individuals who are forced to use public transportation in their daily lives and get around, what are they supposed to do? Or are they just supposed to forego their right to self-defense when they're out in public? We all know how dangerous the CTA and other public transit systems are in Chicago, but I think the Cook County guys recognize there's a problem, but I still don't know. They didn't give us any definitive, we're going to arrest you if you do this. Well, if they come out and say that, then they've effectively negated your ability to carry, if you were forced to use public transit.
It's pretty incredible. Obviously, still a wait-and-see approach here when it comes to how that ruling is going to impact individuals' Second Amendment rights and concealed carry license abilities in the state of Illinois. And something else that clearly could go to the U.S. Supreme Court. When we talked to the attorney for the Schoenthal case, they said they were still reviewing their options as well. So a lot of moving pieces here, Todd. Tell us what's coming up at Aurora Sportsman's Club this weekend.
We've got the zombie shoot. So this is going to be a club-wide event where we will have between 18 and 20 different stages for, 2A supporters and shooters to come out and practice their skills at taking down the undead horde and just have a lot of fun doing it. So the weather's going to be perfect. Looks like we have a record sign up for it this weekend. So everybody that wants to flip a bird to JB Pritzker and company over their gun ban, this is the place to be.
Todd Vandermeide, greatly appreciate your time this morning going live with me for Illinois in Focus, and we'll definitely connect again soon, all right?
All right. Thanks a lot, Greg.
Absolutely. It is Illinois in Focus each and every weekday morning here with the Center Square on YouTube. And again, appreciate Todd letting me call him and get his thoughts on some of these issues here this morning. All right. So if you need more of this program, you can get it during the weekends. You've got the weekend edition where Jim Talamonte and myself, we talk about the headlines from the past week. But there's also a best of program that goes out, taking about an hour's worth of the stuff from the past week and lumping it all together so that you can listen to that while you're doing chores, folding laundry, just staying informed, right? So it's right here with Illinois in Focus Daily. Each and every weekday morning here with the Center Square. All right, that's all I got for you guys today. For the week, try to take a little bit of an early day today. I don't know. I worked all throughout past weekend, and I think I'm going to that event at Aurora Sportsman's Club and talk to some individuals there, especially in anticipation of the gun ban hearing coming up in the appeals court. But I will see you guys here on Monday morning. Plenty of stuff for us to tackle. And a lot's going to unfold, I imagine, and continue to develop. Go to thecentersquare.com. Get the newsletter. Stay up to date. Free to you. We're a free Newswire service. All right, but if you want to donate, you can do so again at thecentersquare.com. Don't forget, Weekend Edition on the podcast. That's coming your way later on over the weekend. Plus, here on YouTube, we'll have the best of programming as well for Illinois in Focus. So maybe you missed some segments from the past week. Hey, we're here each and every weekday morning, keeping you posted on the very latest, all right? Have a great weekend. We'll see you soon here with Illinois in Focus Daily.